Good morning, everybody. Do you have your coffee? I got mine. So listen, I want you to take this opportunity to brace yourself and prepare yourself for this truth I'm about to speak because I had to brace myself to speak it. So I feel like that's the least y'all can do. The thing about the truth is, can't everybody handle the truth? The truth, one of two things is going to happen behind the truth. It's either going to upset people. People are going to either think about what you said and accept the truth for what it is, or they're going to get mad and they're going to try to turn that shit around on you. And it just depends on who's hearing the truth in the moment that they're hearing that truth. Just depends. But that's okay because I'm fine with telling the truth. The truth is what it is. It is its own thing and it doesn't need for you to like it. It's still going to be the truth at the end of the day though. But before I get going on it, I want to say thank you so much to Patrick. Patrick, thank you so much for just always being there. And of course you can follow me. And I want to say thank you so much to, I'm happy that you do. I want to say thank you to Wanda and to Irene and to Arlo and to Yolanda yesterday for making my life easier, helping me with the library pantry. Just thank you. Just thank you. With that said, let's get back to the truth. I want to circle back to the Le Creuset conversation that I've been having with Black people, Black women in particular, because it is the Black women who have infused this company, this European company, with our hard-earned Black-owned dollars. And I did a video over on TikTok yesterday, and Black women are in my comments crashing out. Now, mind you, I don't mind because I am someone who tells hard truths, and I'm comfortable with that. And the thing about hard truths, like I said earlier, is that people who cannot handle a truth, that's what they do. They're gonna push back. People act like I said something that I didn't say. I never said that you were a horrible person because you bought Le Creuset. You may be rather uninformed, but I didn't say that you were a horrible person. And I didn't say that you were doing something wrong. All I said was, we're giving Black dollars to this company, this European company. These European companies that, mind you, they have long histories of abuses against Black people. And if we are going to give, especially so much money at one time to one company, why shouldn't it be a Black-owned company? Why shouldn't we help out our own? And then I made the point about how it is the reason why we tend to do that is low self-esteem. Oh, they are upset with me over there. My comments over on TikTok, I can use a filter over there. So I can just go block, 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 block. Because what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go back and forth with triggered people that don't know how to have discourse. Respectful discourse. I will hear your position, but you're going to have to state that position like you got some sense or be blocked. I get that you're triggered. There are people who are saying that they've had their Le Creuset pieces for years. Clearly, I'm not talking to you. There are people who said, they got more excuses than a man going to jail. You know what I'm saying? As to why it is they bought these pieces. And I get it. At the end of the day, everyone is saying that they wanted to support Duchess Meghan, the 92%. We're supporting Duchess Meghan. I support her. I know what kind of racism that woman faced. I was one of her biggest defenders during all that because I hate racism, in case you can't tell. But why can we not support her show, buying luxury Black-owned cookware? Why do you want the Le Creuset? And I think that is a deeper conversation. And it has to do with our internalized racism. And that's where our low self-esteem comes from. And if you have done no deconstructive work, look, All black people suffer from internalized racism because white supremacy is so pervasive, not just here in America, but throughout the world. And one of the things that white supremacy, one of the consequences of that, is the low self-esteem of black people. That is just the truth. I didn't lie. None of us escaped that. I didn't escape it. You're not going to escape it. But like everything else, it's on a scale. Some of us are down here at the bottom because our default was already set to blackness. Some of us here are, a little further, not too much higher, because we have actually done intensive work and therapy when it comes to deconstructing our internalized racism. And we have actively done the work to make sure that our default is set at black and not white. Because if you don't do that work, and if you don't even admit it, if you're not even willing to admit it, you definitely won't do that work. And you won't connect the dots here. You won't understand that white supremacy has a grasp on you. It has a grasp on your black mind. And that's why you covet and value them and their things more than you do your own. That's why. If your default was set to black, listen, here's an example. If your default was set to black, you would have automatically said, oh, I want to support her, and I'm going to get some lovely new cookware, and I'm going to throw fabulous brunches, and I'm going to, be a chef in my own kitchen, and I think I need some new cookware. However, let's just go take a look at what black luxury has to offer before I buy this expensive ass Le Creuset, because these rich Europeans definitely don't need my hard-earned black dollars. If your default was set to blackness, you would have automatically went there. Automatically. That's how you know your default is not set to blackness. And I think that was a great example of that. If your default was set to black, you automatically would have done it. Sometimes someone has to come along and remind you to do it. Someone like myself. I'm not always there. That's why I'm in community with black people who are more conscious, aware, and woke than I am. But I am teachable. I am coachable. I will listen. I can hear so I can learn. And I can come back and I can teach others what I've learned. I'm sorry that so many black women were offended over what I said, but what I said wasn't a lie. And if you're a woman, it seems to me like before you dismiss it and start attacking me, a black woman, because your default is not set to blackness, that's why you're attacking me. Your default is set to whiteness because I'm a black person telling you the truth about something. You're attacking me because once again, your default's not set to blackness. It's set to whiteness. So you can't even be a woman and have respectable discourse with me. Now, a lot of people say, we are supporting Megan, the 92%. I get it. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't say, since we're having a deeper, broader conversation, I get why you want to support her because of the racism. And it was all those ads and all that campaigning she did for Harris and the Democratic Party, all the work that she and Harry both did to not get this madman elected now that they are residents of the United States. I mean, I remember those ads. I remember when they said, when they were on the campaign, when they endorsed Harry. Yeah, none of that happened. I would be remiss if I didn't remind you. She supported on her own terms. And you can support on your own terms too. Her and Harry both remained quiet while the 92% was fighting for our lives during this election. They were not there. They were quiet. They did not endorse Harris to the best of my knowledge. They did no campaign work. They remained neutral. And that is their choice. Just like it's your choice to buy Le Creuset. It's choices. But you get to acknowledge those choices. We get to say, if they can be discriminating, we can be discriminating too. You can support her, and you can do that with Black-owned cookware and dinnerware. There's some wonderful pieces out there. And then I had Black women who were screaming at me and then demanded that I tell them what those companies were. Mind you, I did that work in one video. I told one woman even, I said, it was in yesterday's video. I listed them all for you. I'm not even someone that does that work because I believe that your internet works the same way my internet works. But yeah, these Black women screamed at me and then demanded free labor from me. Because once again, their default is not set to Black. They're supporting Megan moving slow and having a soft life. But me, I get told to do free labor. Well, where are those companies? Since you talking about them. I could go off. I could. But at the end of the day, I have done a lot of work to make sure that my default is set to Blackness. And because I have done the work to do that, I have empathy for people who have not gotten to that point. And so I'm going to treat you like a person and not a subject. I'm going to treat you like a person and not a mule. I'm going to treat you like a person and not a child, an adult and not a child. I'm going to treat you with some respect because I respect Blackness, Black women in particular. So what I won't do is engage in discourse that's not positive, not uplifting, and not respectful. But I didn't lie. It is the low self-esteem of Black people that makes us want their things more than ours. It is the low self-esteem of Black people that makes us want seats at their table instead of building our own tables. It is the low self-esteem. It is the mind fuck that they have put on Black people to make us feel like we're less than. And a lot of us won't own the fact that we actually truly do feel that way. And that is just the truth. And the only way you're not going to feel that way is if you admit that you feel that way and then you do deconstructive work. But I tell you, a lot of y'all not going to get there because deconstructive work, that is not for punks. It's long, intensive work. Those of us who have done it know it. In a world where everything white is first and everything Black is last, you got to do a lot of work to think Black first and to put Black first. And that takes a backbone and courage. And it takes being able to admit the truth. And a lot of us just can't do that. You know, I watched a TikTok the other day about a Black man, and he started a Black-owned athletic company. And he was talking about how Black athletes and Black celebrities wear luxury brands like Rolex and Gucci, you know, and how when he asked them, hey, could you wear my product or could you support my product? They tell him, you got to pay us $100,000. Meanwhile, they're wearing Rolex for free. Just wearing these European luxury brands that haven't paid them a dime. But they're giving them free promotions. And they feel like big, important people because they can afford those brands. Their defaults are not set to Blackness. Matter of fact, the only black celebrities that I've known that have done that outside of Beyonce is Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar models for black-owned clothing wears, and he doesn't wear companies, and he doesn't ask for $100,000 from his own people that can least afford it. They can't afford that marketing, can't afford the same advertising dollars that these bigger companies can. But the thing of it is what he said that really, really got me, because I've been trying to say it for the longest, and he said it so eloquently. All that power that we infuse into those companies, those businesses, all that support, because we are literally that influential. Imagine if we instead kept that support at home, turning it inward. What do you think that $1.7 trillion in spending power would look like if we kept it at home instead of giving it to white people? Feel your feelings, I ain't lying. You can call me a lot of things in this moment, but a liar you cannot. And instead of acting like a child, pouting, name calling, being ignorant, sit and think about what I'm saying. Sit and think about why it is you, as a black person, value them more than you do us. And if you sit and you really think about that, that is your first step in deconstructive work. Because I know that was the question I started with. That's not even what I wanted to talk about today. What I really wanted to talk about today, speaking of Rolex, did y'all see Marvin Sapp lock those people in that church? You know, you look at me and you see a nice little old lady, and I promise you, that was another thing that I had to work on. My default isn't set to bitch, meaning when I am displeased with something someone has said or done, I don't immediately go on the defense and start wilding out. My default is, because I had to learn it, was to be calm, take in what's being said and what's being done in the moment, and then behave accordingly, act in accordance with that. So just because I don't immediately go into bitch mode doesn't mean that I can't get there. That is definitely one of my modes. And baby, when I tell you, they would have had the right person locked in that church. And here's something else I'm going to say that y'all are not going to like. First of all, if I never would have been in church, if you followed me long enough, you know I never would have been there. But the sad thing is that those same people going to be there next Sunday, waiting in line to be abused in that same manner. You follow a man like that, you are lost. You are lost. One of the reasons why, I don't, and my moderators know it too, so when they see it, they remove it too. I don't allow scripture in my comments because I believe that Christianity and the Bible has done more damage to black people than white supremacy in and of itself. We can't be free as long as we worship in their God. We can't. And they have, just like they convinced you that their things are better, they convinced you that their God is the only God and their religion is the only one. And it is the only way for you to have a connection to God. And they effectively convinced us, these horrible, racist white people, use that book and use that religion that they introduced our ancestors to at the tip of a whip. And they effectively instilled that into us, into our psyches, so much that if we question that God, if we question that book, or if we question them, we will burn in hell for eternity. And black people believe that with their whole body and soul, despite all the inconsistencies, inaccuracies, and contradictions in that Bible. Like a God that is as powerful as the one that that book claims would need a man to translate his words to begin with is insane to me. I remember questioning that as a child. You mean he wrote the 10 Commandments on a stone tablet, but he needed a man to write the Bible for him? Religion, in my opinion, is a man-made way to control the masses. And it's so effective. You have a brain for a reason. You're supposed to question what don't make sense. Because when you don't, you allow a devil to stand in a pool pit wearing a Rolex to kidnap you and rob you at Bible point. Think. You will not burn in hell if you challenge what doesn't make sense to you. Think. Think. Make America think again. Think. Why would they give you chains and whips and death and destruction, but give you their God? That doesn't make sense. That is all that I have today. We can agree to disagree. But if you disagree, I'm going to need you to do it like you got some sense. Or I'm going to have to block you. With that being said, you have a righteous day. Do something nice for someone. Be really righteous. You don't need to sit in somebody's building in order to do that. You don't have to listen to a false prophet in order to be a blessing to someone. In order to help someone. In order to pray over someone. Your ancestors are listening. You all have a good day. If you would like to support the platform, I will leave my Cash App and my Venmo down in the comments. Have a good day.